Chosen one, anchor your spirit to what I am about to say right now. That strange stillness you have been carrying this week. Do not dismiss it. Something has shifted in you and you can feel it, but you do not have words for it yet. That is exactly why this message found you today. The enemy has been working overtime this week for one reason and one reason only. He can see what just happened inside you, and he is terrified of what you are going to do with it. It all changes now. The confusion, the resistance, the inexplicable tension you have been feeling every time you try to move forward. But here is what you need to understand. It is not changing because the storm finally passed. It is changing because you just became someone the storm cannot touch the same way anymore. Think back to that moment this week when something that used to break you simply did not. Maybe it was a conversation that should have unraveled you. Maybe it was a trigger that showed up exactly the way it always does, and instead of being swept away, you watched it from a different place inside yourself. You stood in it differently. You responded differently. Or you said nothing at all, and that silence felt like a completely different kind of silence than before. You probably questioned it. You probably told yourself it was nothing. But heaven saw it, and heaven is confirming it today. You did not find this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. God did. This is a divine appointment written into the architecture of this moment before you ever drew your first breath. You are standing at a threshold, and the ground beneath your feet has already changed. Stay until the very last second of this message, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what power you have been walking in without realizing it. I am going to walk you through the evidence written in your own week that proves the shift already happened. And at the end, I am going to give you the decree that seals this new level and locks the door on every old version of you the enemy has been trying to drag back to the surface. Do not leave. Your future self did not come this far just to have you close the window before the verdict is read. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. The atmosphere has not just been different, it has been charged. Like something invisible is rearranging itself around you, and you keep catching the edges of it, but cannot quite hold it still long enough to see the full picture. Maybe you had a moment this week where you sat alone and felt something you have not felt in a long time. A quiet confidence with no logical explanation for it. Not because things got better. Things may still look exactly the same on the outside, but something on the inside stopped asking for permission. Or maybe you found yourself in a moment of conflict, and instead of shrinking or exploding the way you once would have, you felt a steadiness rise up from somewhere deep that surprised even you. You almost did not trust it. You feel like you are on the edge of something enormous, but you cannot name it yet. Like you have been handed a key, and you are still looking for the door. And in that in-between space, the enemy has started whispering a very specific lie. Listen to your own thoughts this week, and you will hear it. He has been telling you that the shift you feel is not real, that you are imagining it, that the moment you believe it, something will come along to prove you wrong. He has been replaying every old failure, every relapse into old patterns, every moment you thought you had changed and then stumbled. He is telling you that this is the same, that you are the same, that you should not dare believe heaven has actually done something new in you. But I need you to hear what the Word of God actually says about this moment. Isaiah 43:19 says, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it?" Do you not perceive it? God asked that question because he knew there would be a moment when the new thing had already begun, and his people would be standing inside it, still asking if it was real. That question is not a rebuke. It is an invitation. God is asking you right now, in this very moment, do you perceive what I have already done in you? The shift is not coming. It is not scheduled. It already happened. You already carry what you have been praying for. You have just been trained by so much disappointment that you do not fully trust what your own spirit is showing you. The heaviness you have been feeling is not confusion. It is the weight of a new identity that has not yet been fully acknowledged. It is the tension of someone who has outgrown the container they have been living in. You are not stuck, you are expanding. And expansion always feels like pressure before it feels like freedom. That moment this week when you held your peace, when you chose differently, when you stood in the fire and did not burn the same way you used to burn, that was not luck. That was not a coincidence. That was mastery. That was the evidence heaven is using today to confirm that the power you have been asking for has already been deposited inside you. You did not miss your season. You are not behind. You did not disqualify yourself with your moments of doubt or your imperfect process. You are the chosen one standing inside a confirmation that most people pray for their entire lives. And this is the moment you finally receive it. If this message landed in your spirit, leave a comment below and tell me, what was that moment this week when you responded differently and surprised even yourself? Your testimony is someone else's confirmation. Drop it in the comments. And if you feel this message was sent for you, hit the like button so heaven knows you received it. Now let me show you what this shift actually means for what comes next. Because the moment you stop doubting the new thing God has done in you, you move out of survival and into assignment. And that transition from surviving to being sent is the most dangerous thing you can become to the darkness that has been working against your life. This is not a subtle change. It is a seismic realignment of your spiritual posture and purpose. To live in survival mode is to perpetually react, to crouch in defense, to see every challenge as a threat to your very existence. It is a state of constant depletion, where energy is consumed by merely staying afloat. But to step into assignment is to stand with divine authority, to move with intention, to understand that your very being is an instrument in the hand of the divine. It means perceiving obstacles not as terminal threats, but as opportunities for the display of God's power through you. This transition is less about an external circumstance changing and more about an internal revelation taking hold, the profound understanding that you are not merely enduring but embodying a divine mandate. The darkness, which thrives on keeping you small, afraid and isolated, finds its very foundations rattled when a soul moves from the precariousness of mere existence to the unshakable certainty of divine mission. You become a torch in a realm that prefers shadows, a voice of truth in a chorus of lies, a living testament to a power it sought to suppress. This is why the enemy's fury will escalate, because your shift from a target to a threat fundamentally alters the spiritual battlefield. Here is the first thing you need to understand. The version of you that held your peace this week was not performing. It was not discipline alone. It was not willpower. Something deeper than strategy showed up in you. What you witnessed in yourself was not a temporary surge of mental fortitude, but a deep-seated, organic emergence of spiritual resilience, a harvest from unseen processes. And what showed up was the fruit of a season of pressure that you thought was destroying you, but was actually forming you. Think of the refiner's fire, which doesn't consume the gold but purifies it, burning away the dross to reveal its true luster. Or consider the olive in the press. It is not destroyed by the crushing weight, but rather yields the oil, its very essence, which brings light and healing. Every moment you thought you were falling apart, every tear you shed, every agonizing breath, heaven was doing something precise. It was not a random act of suffering. It was a divine alchemy, a meticulous sculpting of your inner being. The desert does not kill the seed. Instead, the scorching sun and parched earth force a seemingly fragile seed to embark on an urgent, desperate quest for life. It compels the root to go deeper, pushing through resistance, breaking through hardened soil, searching for the hidden springs of water, tapping into reserves it never knew it possessed. And a deeper root means a storm that once knocked you flat, leaving you shattered and vulnerable, will now only bend you. You will sway, you will flex, you will yield to the gale, but your anchorage will hold firm. The winds may rage, attempting to uproot you, but your deep-seated spiritual roots, forged in the fires of adversity, will keep you tethered to the source of all life. You bent this week. You did not break. You demonstrated an elasticity, a profound resilience born not of brute strength, but of deep spiritual formation. Write that down somewhere. Carry that truth in your spirit. That is your evidence. That is your undeniable proof that something fundamental and profound has shifted within you. It is the undeniable witness of grace at work, transforming your vulnerability into an unyielding strength, your trials into testimony. But here is where it goes deeper. It is not enough to just recognize the shift. It is crucial to understand the implications, to discern the spiritual currents at play. You have to understand why the enemy moved so aggressively against you this week, because his strategy reveals something about your assignment that you may not have fully seen yet. The forces of darkness are not impulsive or irrational. They are calculated and cunning. The enemy is not random. He does not waste resources. He does not deploy confusion, relapse bait, and emotional warfare against people who are not a threat. He is not interested in skirmishes with the spiritually dormant. His attacks are targeted, precise, and disproportionate to what you might perceive as your current outward influence. He picks his targets based on what he can see that they cannot see yet. He possesses a perverse foresight, an unholy radar that detects the emanations of divine potential, the stirrings of destiny, before they fully manifest in your conscious awareness. He senses the anointing before you wear the crown. He perceives the future general before the conscript even knows he's been called to war. And the intensity of what came against you this week, the relentless assaults on your peace, the whispers of doubt, the sudden resurfacing of old temptations, the emotional turmoil that felt like a tempest inside your soul, was a direct, calculated response to what he saw happen inside you before you even knew it happened. You became dangerous, a formidable force against his kingdom, and he knew before you did. His fierce opposition is, in an unsettling way, a confirmation of your elevation, a dark prophecy of your impending impact. Think of David before Goliath. The armies of Israel, a vast multitude of seasoned warriors, had been looking at that towering giant for 40 days. 40 days of the same taunting, the same intimidation, the same demoralizing lie that he was too big, too powerful, too invincible to fight. Their courage had eroded, their hope dwindled, replaced by a paralyzing fear that spread like a contagion through the ranks. But David, a shepherd boy, walked onto that field, a sling in his hand and an unshakable faith in his heart, and saw the same giant through entirely different eyes. Not because the giant changed, Goliath remained as formidable and terrifying as ever, but because David had been shaped, molded, and fortified in a place no one had witnessed, in a crucible of solitude and divine encounter. He was forged on the field where no one was watching. He learned the rhythm of God's presence in the quiet seasons with the sheep. It was there, away from the accolades and the scrutiny of men, that he honed his skills, but more importantly, cultivated an intimate, unwavering trust in the living God. The lion, the bear. These were not mere animal encounters. They were divine appointments, fierce training grounds where David wrestled with the raw, untamed forces of the wilderness and emerged victorious not by his own might, but by the strength of the Lord. These were the places where he had already won battles the crowd had never seen, battles that built an internal architecture of faith and courage. And that hidden history, that sacred narrative of private victories, gave him a clarity about what was possible, a divine perspective that the fear-paralyzed armies around him could not access. They saw an insurmountable obstacle. David saw an uncircumcised Philistine defying the armies of the living God. Your hidden history, the battles you survived that no one filmed, the tears you cried in secret, the times you almost quit and didn't, drawing on an invisible well of strength, the prayers you prayed alone at 2 in the morning, when the world was asleep and only God was awake to listen. That history has not been forgotten. It has been building something profound and powerful in you, layer upon layer, muscle upon spiritual muscle, something that the enemy recognizes and trembles at, even when you don't. He saw your David moment coming before you did, the precise point when your hidden strength would rise to meet an overt challenge. That is why this week felt like 40 days of taunting compressed into 7. The enemy, in his desperation, unleashed a concentrated assault, hoping to deter you before you fully realize the power you now carry. And this leads to something most people miss entirely, a truth that elevates your personal journey into a universal narrative. The shift in you is not just for you. That is the part that changes the stakes, moving your story from individual transformation to collective liberation. Because the moment God moves in a person's life at the level He has moved in yours, He is not simply improving your circumstances or making your personal path smoother, though those blessings may also flow. He is repositioning you as a carrier of something precious, something vital, something others desperately need. You have been walking around this week feeling like the weight of the world, or at least your world, is about to break you, crushing you under its immense pressure. But what if the weight is not burden? What if it is cargo? What if what feels heavy is not what is being done to you, but what has been placed inside you for someone else's liberation, for the breaking of chains in another's life, for the bringing of light into someone else's darkness? Consider a ship traversing turbulent seas, laden with precious goods destined for a famine-stricken land. The ship feels the immense weight of its cargo, the relentless push and pull of the ocean. But that weight is not a curse. It is its purpose, its reason for existence. The carrier always feels the weight before the delivery is made. It's the spiritual gestation, the sacred preparation, before the birth of something new into the world through you. This divine cargo is not meant to be hoarded or contained. It is meant to be released, distributed, and shared. Stay with me, because what's coming next is the part that truly breaks the cycle. It challenges deeply ingrained patterns of thought and perception, and it is something most people are never told about the season they are standing in right now. It is the missing piece of the puzzle that explains why the breakthrough feels so close, yet still out of reach. What I want you to sit with for a moment is the profound, foundational question of identity. Not who you have been told you are by external voices, by critics or casual observers who project their own limitations onto you. Not who you decided you were in your worst season, when pain distorted your mirror and shame whispered lies into your ear. Not the fractured, incomplete version of you that formed under pressure from people who could not see past their own limitations, their own fears, their own narrow understanding of potential. I mean the identity that was assigned to you before time began, before the first star ignited, before the earth was hung in the heavens, before your family named you with hope or expectation, before disappointment shaped you with its sharp edges, before you picked up every label that was never supposed to fit, every inaccurate description you inherited or self-prescribed, unworthy, broken, too much, not enough. Chosen is not a fleeting feeling, a fickle emotion that comes and goes with the tide of your circumstances. It is a fundamental, immutable function. It is a divine purpose, woven into the very fabric of your being. And you do not have to feel chosen for the assignment to be real, for your purpose to be active and immutable. Feelings are transient. Divine truth is eternal. Think of Gideon, shrinking and fearful when the angel of the Lord appeared to him. He did not feel like a mighty warrior as he hid, threshing wheat in a winepress, trying to conceal his meager harvest from the Midianites. He felt like the least of his family and the weakest tribe in the nation. A self-assessment steeped in insecurity and perceived inadequacy. That was his human, fear-driven self-assessment. But the angel addressed him not by what Gideon felt, not by his current circumstances, but by what God saw, by the inherent truth of his divinely ordained identity. The Lord is with you, mighty warrior. Mighty warrior was not a patronizing compliment or a mere motivational platitude. It was a revelation of what already existed inside him, a dormant potential, a royal decree, waiting for the precise moment it would be called forward into action. It was a declaration of his true nature, transcending his immediate experience. What if the name God is calling you right now, in this very moment, is not the one you have been answering to? What if you are responding to a lesser echo when heaven is thundering your true glorious name? Because here is the truth that has to land deep within your spirit, settling into the core of your being before we go any further. You have been functioning below your actual identity, existing beneath the radiant truth of who you were created to be. And it is not primarily because you are weak or inherently flawed or lacking in spiritual capacity. It is because you were agreeing with a smaller story about yourself, a narrative woven from past hurts, societal pressures, and the insidious whispers of the enemy. And that agreement, that silent, daily, often unconscious agreement with the limited, diminished version of you the enemy desperately wants you to stay as, is more powerful and more binding than any outward attack he could launch. An external assault can be resisted, but an internal agreement is a fortress surrendered from within. The lies do not have to be loud or dramatic to be profoundly effective. Some of them whisper, barely audible, yet incredibly potent, like a subtle poison infiltrating your system. Some of them sound exactly like wisdom, cloaked in cautious prudence. Don't get your hopes up too high. Manage your expectations. It's better to be safe than sorry. Some of them even sound like humility, masking themselves in pious self-effacement. Be careful not to get too ahead of yourself. Remember where you came from, your humble beginnings. Remember how many times you thought things were changing and they weren't. How many times you fell short. That voice, disguised as a protector, is not truly shielding you from pride. It is, in reality, fiercely protecting the enemy from your unleashed power, from the full manifestation of your divine potential. And there is a profound cosmic difference between those two things. One fosters true spiritual growth and intimacy with God. The other stifles destiny and keeps you confined to a cage of your own making. And what's coming up now is the layer underneath that, the deeper current beneath the surface of agreement, the thing hidden beneath the choice to embrace a smaller story, the profound reason that agreement feels so surprisingly safe, almost comforting. Stay right here, lean into this truth, because it holds the key to unlocking what's next. The reason that smaller story feels safe, the reason it holds such a powerful, almost magnetic pull, is precisely because it is familiar. It is the well-worn path, the known landscape, even if that landscape is barren and desolate. And the human spirit, especially when it has been through enough trauma, enough disappointment, enough betrayal and struggle, begins, out of sheer self-preservation, to treat familiarity as protection. Even when what is familiar is pain, a chronic ache that has become a constant companion, a discomfort you've learned to navigate. Even when what is familiar is smallness, a self-imposed boundary, a glass ceiling you've tacitly accepted, even when what is familiar is merely the edge of your gift, the periphery of your potential, allowing you to dabble and hint at what you could be, without ever stepping fully into the blazing center of it, into the terrifying brilliance of your true calling. You have been living, perhaps for years, on the mere edge of what you are truly capable of, skirting the vast ocean of your anointing, and a part of you has, in its earnest attempt at virtue, called that humility. But let us be clear, it is not genuine humility to shrink below what God explicitly built you for, to diminish the divine imprint He placed upon your soul. It is, more accurately, fear wearing the convincing costume of virtue, a wolf in sheep's clothing, masquerading as a righteous quality. And you have been so gracious, so understanding, so incredibly accommodating to that fear. You have fed it logic, giving it plausible explanations and rationalizations for why you must stay small, why you cannot step out. You have given it reasons, carefully constructed justifications that sound almost sensible, almost wise. You have let it sit at the table of your mind, a revered guest, and speak with an authority it was never ever entitled to wield over your spirit or your destiny. Enough. The shift that happened in you this week, the unexpected strength and peace you felt, was your spirit, in a profound act of divine rebellion, beginning to stop feeding it. It was your soul, roused by a deeper truth, finally withdrawing its consent, cutting off the lifeline to that insidious, fear-driven narrative. It was the moment your true self began to starve the lie. Now here is where we reach the turning point of everything I am saying, the pivot around which all these truths coalesce. Because up until now, most of what I have said has been about what God has done in you, the deep hidden work of formation and transformation, and what the enemy has tried to do against you, the calculated, aggressive attempts to derail and diminish. But there is a third actor in this story, a crucial variable that we have not explicitly named yet. And this is the part that most people are not prepared to face, the uncomfortable truth that often remains unspoken. The thing that has been blocking you, the primary barrier to your full ascension into assignment, is not primarily the enemy, though his attacks are real and persistent. And it is not primarily your past, though its wounds and narratives can be deeply influential. It is not the people who wounded you with their words or actions, or the systems that overlooked you, denying your worth or opportunity, or even the prayers that seemed to go unanswered, leaving you in a desolate silence. Those experiences are real. The pain is undeniably real. The injustices were palpable. But none of them, not one, have the final, ultimate authority over your next season, over your unfolding destiny. They are forces, yes, but not the ultimate governing power. The real force that has been holding the door closed, subtly but powerfully, is the version of you that does not fully believe you are allowed to walk through it. It is the internal gatekeeper, the part of your own consciousness that resists the profound implications of your divine calling. There is a part of you, small perhaps in its origins, but vocal in its protest, old in its conditioning, but loud in its arguments, that is absolutely terrified of what it means if this shift, this breakthrough, this new identity is actually real. Because if the shift is real, if the transformation is truly permanent and profound, then you have to step into an identity you have never fully inhabited, shedding the familiar skin of your past self. If the breakthrough is real, if the chains truly are broken, then you have to behave like someone who has broken through, someone who is no longer bound, someone who is free. And behaving like someone you have never been, embodying a self that transcends your historical experience, is perhaps the most frightening, unsettling, and challenging thing a human soul can be asked to do. It means letting go of every familiar anchor, every comfortable narrative, even the ones that caused pain, and sailing into the wide, uncharted sea of your true self. But here is the divine contradiction, the paradox at the heart of God's redemptive work, a truth that obliterates all self-imposed prerequisites. God has never once asked you to become someone new before He moved. He does not demand that you earn your transformation first. The order of operations in the kingdom is consistently counterintuitive to our human logic. He moves, He acts, He intervenes, and then you become. He delivers first and transforms second. His grace precedes our readiness, His power precedes our perfection. Consider the epic exodus of Israel. He called Israel out of Egypt, bringing them through the Red Sea on dry ground. Before He dealt with Egypt inside them, the deeply ingrained slave mentality, the fear, the murmuring that plagued them in the wilderness. The physical liberation was immediate. The mental and spiritual transformation was a journey. He raised Lazarus out of the tomb, breathing life back into his lifeless body before He dealt with the grave clothes. The miracle of resurrection was complete, but the grave clothes, the remnants of death, still clung to Him. The order matters profoundly. You have been waiting until you feel ready, until you have perfectly prepared yourself, until every trace of the old self has been meticulously purged. But heaven is saying you are already out of the tomb. The life has already returned. The spiritual miracle has already occurred. Now it is time to take off the grave clothes. The change already happened in the spirit realm, a done deal, a sealed truth. What is left is the deliberate, conscious act of undressing, of shedding the old garments of doubt, fear, and limited identity. It is an act of faith-filled cooperation with a divine reality that has already taken hold. And just when you think you have grasped it, just when you feel the weight of this truth settling into your understanding, here is the final layer, the deepest insight. The one thing underneath all of it, the unexpected, subtle root of the lingering delay, the quiet resistance that persists despite everything. It is not fundamentally unbelief in God, in His existence or His omnipotence. You believe He is powerful. You have seen His might displayed in creation and in history. You believe He is faithful. You can recount countless testimonies of His unwavering presence. You believe He moves. You have witnessed His miracles, heard stories of His intervention. You have watched Him move in other people's stories, in the lives of your friends, your mentors, strangers you admire, and you have, with genuine conviction, declared His goodness over their lives, celebrating their breakthroughs as evidence of His grace. But somewhere beneath all of that robust theology, beneath the intellectual assent and the outward praise, there lies a quiet, almost imperceptible conviction, a subtle internal exception, that His absolute best is somehow reserved for others, that what He does for them, the profound, miraculous, destiny-altering interventions, is something He admires in you from a distance, a potential He acknowledges, but has not actually commissioned or fully unleashed for your specific life. That you are perpetually close to the promise, perpetually on the verge, but not quite, not truly, the recipient of its fullness, that you are a beloved spectator, but not the designated inheritor, and that quiet exception you have made for yourself, that subtle, almost subconscious belief that you are almost chosen, almost worthy, almost ready, is the very last, most deeply entrenched agreement that needs to break. It is the final barrier, erected not by the enemy, but by a distorted self-perception, separating you from your divine inheritance. You are not almost chosen, you are chosen. This is not a sentiment, it is a foundational truth, a divine declaration that precedes all human experience. Not because of what you have built with your own hands, through your effort and striving. Not because of how consistently you have shown up in your spiritual practices or your daily life. Not because you have earned it through profound suffering. believing that your pain somehow qualifies you for God's favor. You are chosen because He said so, because He declared it, because He etched your name in the annals of eternity before you ever drew your first breath, before you ever arrived on this earthly stage. It is an act of sovereign grace, not a reward for merit. And every confirmation this week, every moment of unexpected steadiness in the storm, every time something that used to completely destroy you simply did not, heaven was not showing you something new, something that had just come into existence. Heaven was showing you something true, something eternally immutable, something that has always been true about you in the heart of God. It is a truth woven into your spiritual DNA, a pre-existent reality that your eyes are finally ready to perceive, and your spirit is finally ready to receive. It is your birthright, now revealed. Place your hand on your heart right now and speak this over yourself. I release every agreement with smallness. I release the fear that has been dressed as wisdom. I release the familiar pain I have been calling protection. I break agreement with the voice that told me the shift was not real. I declare that what God has done in me this week is permanent and it is purposeful. I am not surviving. I am being sent. I am not almost chosen. I am chosen. I do not have to earn what heaven has already assigned. I step out of the tomb and I leave the grave clothes behind. I carry something the world needs, and I will no longer hold it back out of fear. My identity is not what I have been through. My identity is what He put in me before time began, and I walk forward from this moment, not waiting for permission, but walking in the authority that has already been granted. This is your moment, not next week, not when it looks different on the outside. Right now. The ground under your feet has already changed. The only question left is whether you are willing to walk on it differently. If something broke open in you during this message, do not keep that to yourself. Leave it in the comments. Not for me, but for the person who will scroll down and read your words at 2 in the morning, wondering if God still sees them. Your testimony is their confirmation. Drop it below. And if this message was placed on your path intentionally, if your spirit knows this was not an accident, share it with someone who needs to hear that their shift is real. Because someone in your circle is standing in the same doorway, and they are waiting for exactly one voice they trust to tell them the new thing is already here.